Hi, this is Nathan Lamont with Evergreen Woodworking, and today we're going to be going over just a few fundamentals of the planer. I printed this out of my book, The Plane Craft, that I showed in an earlier episode. This basically shows you and lays out the basics of an adjustment of the planer. Now, the plane usually doesn't have quite as many parts as this. For example, my small rusty looking planer has a mere probably 4 parts. Okay, it has the piece right here, which is called, and I don't remember all the parts, I'm not that big of an expert, but I do know how to clean these up. But this right here is a 102 Stanley. You can tell because it says 102 down here, and it has an S on here. Okay, there's other ones that actually say Stanley on them, which I actually don't have one here, sitting here around here. Hold on, there we go. This one right here actually says Stanley on it. Okay, and it says it right in here, made in Canada, Stanley 190. Okay. Most of the Stanley tools are a little bit more expensive because of the name it is. Getting back to the subject, there's one part here which is called the it's just called the body. It's the plain body. Okay. There's the adjustable knob right here, which is 2 parts. We'll take that out if it comes out. Okay. There's this, which is called the frog, and there's this, which is the blade. That's 4 parts on just this one planer. Okay, 4 parts. Very simple, very easy planer. Now, if you look at this diagram, there's about 30 parts. A little bit of a difference between 4 and that many. And then this is the one we're going to go through, which is shown in this diagram. Okay, that's a lot of parts. Okay, so what we're going to start out with is a screwdriver. This is an electrical screwdriver. It's just got a really nice magnetic bit, which is very helpful in the sense of dealing with screws such as this, which you want to make sure doesn't fall into any cracks or any crevices. You also want to make sure that you have a variety. My bench is a little messy, which I'm sure everybody's is. You also want to make sure you have a variety of different tools available. This right here is a bench hook. It's generally easy to use to push boards like this and go across like this. We're going to actually put this away because we're not going to need it right now while we clean. Same with this piece of wood. I don't want to get it dirty. We're going to put that under the bench. And we're going to go through cleaning up this one first, which is the smaller one, less parts, and then we'll go through this one right here, which is a lot bigger and a lot more parts. So I'll put this off to the side. I also like to point out that these little things, they come out of magazines. They're basically flimsy, but the thicker paper than normal paper is, and they're very good for setting a piece. So if you're putting this back together later on, they're very good for setting the piece in here so that you have a little space between the bar and the blade. So if I put the blade in here, I put that there and here, and I want this to just barely fit up in here, I generally put that thick of paper in there, put it real tight, tighten it, take that out, and then you got a really good gap. Now it's kind of bad because it's shifted. I don't have the pin in there, but it has a good gap in there, and you're not going to lose too much time adjusting it, trying to get it straight and stuff, because it will already be straight and it'll have enough gap in there for that perfect thin cut. Okay, most of the time when you want to store these, you want to store them without the blade coming out of this space here. Because if you do that and you start slamming on a bench or something, you're going to damage your blade and you have to replace it, and that's not worth it. So we're going to start by cleaning up the tool. Let me move some things out of here. Brasso, okay, Tarnex, any of those are really good cleaners for steel. And generally these are made of steel. Some are made of aluminum, but most of the old antique ones are made of steel. I also put a Johnson paste wax on all my tools. You could just use beeswax if you want. It's a little bit harder. Paste wax is the best to just apply and then buff out later. So we'll go into that after we clean this tool up. We'll put this down here. Print this off so you know your guide and how things are going together. I'll have to print one. I'll have to find ones for this particular type of planer so I can show an example of that later. And we're going to just start off by applying some Brasso. Shake it up real well. Take a rag, and I like to have two different color rags, okay? The brown rag here is a really good soft rag. Actually, it's a wash rag, okay? And it's really good for applying your wax and buffing it real clean. So that's usually put together, and you put it over here. This is an old sweatshirt that I just tore up. It's cotton, and it's got really cottony fibers. It's a really good thing to clean up your tools because it just holds this Brasso right into it. So I'm going to put a dab of that in there. You don't need a whole lot, just a little bit. We're going to clean up the body first. We're going to just apply a little bit here. We're going to just apply a little bit here. Okay, and you just want to rub a little bit on there. So it's on two sides. And then you want to take your brush like this. And generally I put a piece of newspaper on here, but this is my workbench, so I'm not really particular on what goes on here. But I would recommend putting a board, a scrap board or something down on the bottom, because it can generally get messy. So, as an example, I'm going to put this board here because it can get messy. And then I'll just take it and I'll scrub, not up and down like this. You want to scrub with the grain in a way, because when you go to use this, you're going to use it this way. And you want to have it somehow going toward that direction. So we're going to take a little of this and we're going to just move it around a little bit. And we'll go here. And we're going to do the same thing here. And if you look, that's all the stuff I got off there already, okay? This is going to take a couple coats of this cleaning right here. And if you look, there's a divot spot right here, and there's a little bit of rust in there. I got to clean all that rust out and all that nasty in order to put a nice clean finish wax on it. So I'm going to clean this up, and then I will come back and show you what it will look like, just this part. And then we'll go through these other parts in steps. Alright? After you put this on here, I'll show you also another thing. Is after you do this once, you want to take this rag and you just want to wipe across here. Okay? And I mean, just a little bit. And just wipe off all that crud, all that nasty crud that you just brushed off. And if you look, a lot of that nasty crud is over here on this. Now, you can get these wire brushes. This one right here I got out of the torching section of out of Lowe's and Home Depot or any of those general places. The torching section has generally the good stuff for cleaning up stuff. This one right here I think I got in a packet at an auto store. This one I think is the better one, and you can see I've used it a lot. And this one, it's cheap. It probably cost me about 10 cents or 50 cents or something. But it works for, you know, getting in there in the grooves and stuff. This one's generally the good one for getting on the surfaces. So you're going to have to pick or choose those things. I'll come back, I'll show you what it looks like after I'm done with this. Alright?